Alongside with Resident Evil 2 Remake, Evil Within, and Alien Isolation, Dead Space Remake made me realize that survival horror is one of my favorite video game genres. I've been playing survival horror titles for years. For more than 20 years, I found myself in foggy streets of Silent Hill, fought against the lickers of Raccoon City trying to survive, and most importantly, I love this genre from the bottom of my heart. I love trying to save a handful of ammunition for my next encounter. I love wasting all of my resources on a boss battle. I love the feeling of terror it gives. As I was playing Haunting Grounds once again, I felt this masochistic satisfaction flowing through my veins. I felt that I loved the thrill of being chased, trying to survive in dark corridors while solving puzzles. With Dead Space Remake, I felt the same. 15 years after its launch, I inhaled that same putrid and grotesque air of USG Ishimura and felt happy. It's been more than 10 years since I played the first Dead Space, but I felt the same feeling, the same joy when I played Resident Evil 2 Remake for the first time. I never even knew that I enjoyed Dead Space. I felt I was at home. Hello everyone, I'm Arcade Now here, and today I would like to talk about why Dead Space Remake is one of the best survival horror experiences that you can enjoy, and the return of survival horror genre alongside with upcoming Resident Evil 4 Remake. Oddly enough, this time I didn't feel a single drop of fear or even terror when I played Dead Space Remake. But I enjoyed it a lot. To be honest, maybe more than before. I discovered each and every corner of dark and cold USG Ishimura, did every side content, fought against the necromorphs while cursing just like Isaac. I felt like as if I was also there fighting alongside with the most badass engineer of the galaxy. After playing this genre for years, I guess I lost my capability of feeling the horror or the tension of the unknown. I feel like I'm broken beyond repair and felt as if the necromorphs were stuck in Ishimura with me. Needless to say, throughout my 12 hours of Dead Space experience, I managed my ammunition, my hard-earned credits way better than how I handle my monthly salary, and Dead Space Remake left its mark how Resident Evil 2 Remake, The Evil Within, and the Alien Isolation did, and what the Callisto Protocol failed horribly. Just like Resident Evil 2 Remake, Dead Space Remake felt insanely faithful to its original version. The atmosphere of USG Ishimura felt the same, but also as an improved version, as if I was playing Dead Space for the first time in my life. The moment you see the USG Ishimura sign at the hangar, you know something is terribly gone wrong. You know that this journey will change who you are when it ends. Well, if you can see the end of it after all. I also had the same feeling when I finished Evil Within years ago. I felt beaten, broken and tired after I cheated to death countless of times with Sebastian, and still can't forget what I experienced back then. And now, with necromorphs trying to corner me whenever I turn the lights off to open up a new way, the ambience, the textures, everything felt so faithful to its original work, and also as if it's a sequel that we waited for years. From the very moment I received the plasma cutter, I was itching to discover USG Ishimura, walk through its narrow dark corridor to discover text or an audio log to find out what happened here, as if I was playing Doom or something. But before all that, let's talk about why we are here in the first place in USG Ishimura, a planet cracker ship that is about to change Isaac Clarke's life.
I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I just wish I could talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. Strange. Such a little thing.
It's year 2508 and the mankind tries to survive through planet-cracking ships just like USG Ishimura. Earth nearly depleted all of its resources, so their only bet is to send planet-cracker ships to different points of the galaxy to gather resources. And they were successful. USG Ishimura conducted 34 successful planet cracks up until now. As being a part of USG Kellyn shuttle, Isaac and his crew learns that USG Ishimura has suffering communication errors in their ship. And as a side note, Isaac's girlfriend Nicole is also working in USG Ishimura, contacting Isaac. This quickly turns into Silent Hill 2 in space, right? I love it, but let me finish first. Our girlfriend is not in the trunk of our spaceship, but she works as a medical crew in Ishimura. To check the problem Ishimura is having, Isaac, alongside with his crew of 4 people, docks to the planet Cracker ship, but no one is there to greet them. No one answers their call. Whole space station of maybe over 1,000 crew members. It's too silent. Dead silent. From the very first moment you control Isaac, everything feels familiar. Isaac's engineer suit feels nostalgic. The UI of Dead Space is easy to follow, and still, in my honest opinion, one of the most minimal but also the most clever health bar designs of all time shows itself on Isaac's back. You continue deep into the Ishimura, and boo-hoo, your first crew member dies as Necromorph with a long, sharp limbs impales him. Isaac gets separated with his crew, but have no fear, we have our beloved plasma cutter that can also separate these Necromorphs and their limbs just like they did to us. Maybe I should stop this video here. I felt as if I'm talking about like a hack and slash or something. Experiencing Dead Space Remake made me realize the mistakes of Callisto Protocol more clearly. Dead Space starts quick, introduces its unique gameplay mechanics earlier, you feel the desperation, the terror, the adrenaline way better, way faster than the Callisto Protocol presents. You are not greeted by a burning space prison, but a silent ship that is full of necromorphs, hidden in the dark, lurking in the air vents, trying to ambush you. You are not attacking them in close combat, dodging their attacks as if you are playing God Hand, but you are desperate to hit their limbs with your weapons, reposition yourself if you want to survive with the best outcome. Isaac has 7 different weapons in his arsenal, starting from the plasma cutter being quite similar to a pistol, a pulse rifle that is mostly useless unless you use it as a grenade launcher feature, a flamethrower that is quite effective in narrow corridors, Ripper that can send ricocheting saw blades to sever limbs easily, contact beam that can melt necromorphs with its superheated beam to their gut, and the line gun that can sever limbs and as well as that can be used as line traps, and as last a force gun that knocks down necromorphs with its gravity force. And the best thing, even though Dead Space is a survival horror, its weapons actually feel good. They are like responsive, they are effective even if you aim for the gas canisters or just go for the limbs. If you ever run out of ammunition, which I don't think you would in most of times, you can just stomp the fallen necromorphs to earn additional credits that you can use by the shop or to earn ammunition for your weapons. Even Isaac's stomp will relieve you of your stress as our blood-soaked engineer curses the necromorphs while stomping. Different from the original work, Isaac speaks by the remake. He comments on the events, he yells, curses when fighting against the necromorphs, he feels more alive than before, and just only once, he gives you the solution to one puzzle by the early game where you need to use your status for the first time to solve a puzzle, and that's it. While traveling all around in Ishimura's different divisions, you are all alone with Isaac's iconic armor and with your weapons. It's worth to mention that Dead Space really rewards the players who are willing to explore Ishimura as new side missions are implemented into the game. These side missions can lead you to uncover more about the tragedy of Ishimura and about Nicole and more about the Church of Unitology. My guess is its psychological horror side appealed me more than before, as I was calling Dead Space as Silent Hill 2 in space.
Isaac. Sorry, late shift. How are you?
My mother, she's,
Octavia? How's she doing?
Dead Space is not just about a science fiction horror, but it slowly evolves into like a psychological horror with elements of cosmic horror also. It's not just about an experiment gone wrong, but you will learn more about Church of Unitology, how it changed Isaac's life, and how it spreads its sphere of influence around the galaxy. Dead Space has many sides in this madness. It has political, religious and psychological sides surrounding Isaac, and that's what makes Dead Space such a remarkable journey. I hope Dead Space 2 also receives the same remake treatment in the future, and they make a better, like a soft reboot for Dead Space 3 that would conclude Isaac's journey in a way that would satisfy all of its fans. That's what I wish from the bottom of my heart, and seeing that Resident Evil 4 and also Silent Hill 2 getting remakes, it seems that survival horrors are just receiving the treatment that they deserve at long last. Even though I mentioned Resident Evil 2 Remake or the remake of the 4th, I think Dead Space Remake is on the same level of classic Resident Evil Remake that came out on GameCube like 20 years ago. Arguably, Ishimura now has one of the best atmosphere I've ever played in a horror game, sharing his throne with Alien Isolation if we were to talk about science fiction horror. And maybe Signalis and Observer comes as second. Claustrophobic atmosphere of Ishimura relies heavily on its lighting and design, and there is not a single cheesy jump scare that's gonna wait for you. Isaac's iconic helmet will light your way in utmost darkness, as Ishimura's entire crew has either been killed or transformed into necromorphs. Twisted, reanimated bodies that want nothing more than to kill you in one of very violent ways. While surrounded by such survival horror atmosphere without any errors, there is no single loading screen even when you change areas within the game, and the overall tanky controls of Isaac feels easier than before. Maybe somewhat similar to Dead Space 2. To be completely honest, during early game I thought that I would skip doing the side quests and would just rush to finish the game. But here I am with master security level with over 100,000 credits in my account while counting my bullets before entering into a new area. I literally turned Isaac into the Marine of Doom, and I'm not regretting it. Moreover that, playing the Dead Space Remake even made me want to play either Evil Within or Resident Evil 2 Remake before the launch of Resident Evil 4 Remake, and I don't know how I will go back to my previous self anymore. I'm totally satisfied with how survival horror genre gets the treatment it deserves, both through big titles and also through indie titles like Signalis. The fear of unknown, the mystery that is wrapped in cosmic events also appealed to me, and in addition, psychological struggles of our main characters is just like a cherry on the top, and with all of these elements, creating a speaking Isaac made Dead Space even better. Its events are more memorable now and Isaac more likable. If you ever enjoyed the titles that I mentioned above but never tried Dead Space, you are gonna enjoy it a lot. You're about to witness the return of the survival horror genre that is destined to grow even more, expand and make us whole again. Even though I do not feel any scare at all and sometimes play these titles as if I'm playing like a loot and shoot game, I still love, I still enjoy, and I still hold these dear and try to convince and motivate the people around me to give them a chance. As I mentioned before, I'm totally up to any suggestions for any survival horror titles, as I'm thinking about covering either Evil Within or Resident Evil 2 Remake in the future. And you out there, ever considered what Yuichi Ishimura would look like if Dead Space had a first-person camera choice? My saved data bugged twice and I had the opportunity to experience Ishimura in FPS mode for a couple of minutes before restoring my progress. And Ishimura felt more terrifying it already is. Unfortunately, it was impossible to continue the story in FPS mode since everything else was also bugged, Isaac getting stuck between the doors and not being able to use its weapons. But it was such a good experience that I wanted to experience Dead Space like this. Maybe this franchise also needs like a Resident Evil 7 treatment, who knows? As always, thanks for watching today's video. What are you thinking about Dead Space Remake? And also, please do help me choose either Evil Within or Resident Evil 2 Remake to continue after Dead Space Remake.